If you've been watching the We Play UFL tournament, I think we can all agree that the production quality is quite amazing, from the venue to the commentary and everything in between. But my favorite feature is this, the heart rate meter, and the amazing story that it tells. In this first game that you're seeing, it's Arslan versus Grolanda. Grolanda is a player who won the Last Chance qualifier back in 2018 and has a few notable finishes against Arslan, one of the best players in the game, an Intercontinental EVO champion, as well as winner of many other notable tournaments. Needless to say, Arslan is the favorite here, and by very much so. And I think that's reflected in his heart rate. You can see that he starts out at about 90 beats per minute, while Grolanda starts at about 126. Now, the average resting heart rate for adults ranges from 60 to 100 beats per minute at rest. And for highly trained athletes, it's about 40 beats per minute at rest. So here, Arslan is just a little bit above resting. I think he knows he's the favorite, and he's not very stressed. Maybe he's really good at the matchup. Maybe he knows the player, and he knows what he needs to do, obviously. Grolanda, on the other hand, I think knows what he's up against, right? It's Arslan, a champion, and very much a formidable opponent. And that too is reflected in his heart rate. I think watching these players at a very high level play all the time in tournaments, no matter what game you play, we forget that they're people sometimes. We forget that they are just normal fighting game players at times, and they can get nervous, and their tournament nerves can still be a factor at the highest level. I'm not saying their elevated heart rate is directly a result of that nervousness, whether it's anxiety or excitement, but I think that it's a good indication of what these players are feeling. And that some of the more experienced players you'll see are at a lower resting heart rate. They're less nervous, they're more ready for the tournament nerves, they're more prepared. And some of the other players who maybe haven't been competing regularly or haven't been playing as much are a little bit elevated, they're a little bit more excitable and a little bit less ready. To prove this to you, I want to show you Arslan versus Saint as well. Two world-class players at the top of their pool fighting for the first spot. Now, like I said, this entire pool session, these two players' heart rates have been at the lower end compared to everybody else. They've been ready for everything, but when you take two of the best players in the world and put them against each other, we can see what happens. Take a look at their heart rates. They're about even. They're bringing out the best in each other. I think this is almost as even as I've seen the heart rates go. I think that this is a pretty even match for each player. All signs point to that statistically, but we can even see physically just how evenly matched these players are. They are truly bringing out the best in each other, and we have the pleasure of watching it. And I think there's something very beautiful about that. To see two players who have been breezing through their pool finally face head-to-head and have to really bring something special out to defeat the other is quite amazing to witness. I think in an age of online play and a time when we don't get to see those interpersonal connections happen or experience them ourselves at events because of the nature of the situation that we are in, it makes it that much more special to me. Now, there's one more situation I think the heartbeat monitor captured very well that I want to share with you. Lastly, let's take a look at Boris Sonic versus Kira. Now, Boris Sonic is very much the underdog in his pool. To be honest with you, I don't know very much about him. I think he's a newer player who's still growing and finding experience. Kira, on the other hand, has a few notable finishes according to his Wikipedia, and he seems a little bit more experienced than his opponent, and that is completely reflected in his heart rate. You can see that Kira is sitting around 91 beats per minute, while Boris Sonic is hitting 165. Almost 170. He's doing a full workout. And I think this really demonstrates that more experienced players are more ready to handle these nerves. Obviously, they have more experience, but they still feel them to an extent, just not to the extent that newer players are feeling them. I think I said before, I didn't know if this was nervousness or excitement, but I am sure at 170 beats per minute, it's nervousness. Trying to function at full motor capacity at that heart rate, I just don't think is possible. I think your hands start getting shaky. I think you get very nervous. You start sweating a little bit. You really start to have to fight your physical urges. I think at the point that Saint and Arslan were at, around 145 to 135, locked in battle, that was excitement. That was an even match where the opponents were bringing the best out in each other. I think what we're seeing here is inexperience, nervousness, and anxiety versus someone who knows that they are favored to win and they know how to get there. They figured out their opponent, they know what to do, and I don't think there's very much left for them to think about. With a 70 beat per minute differential, one player's having a great time. The other player is fighting for his tournament life, his pride, and his validation. I'm looking forward to the rest of the We Play UFL tournament. I think they're doing a great job, and I think that the heart rate monitor was a very small detail with a major impact on me at least. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please consider subscribing. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.